I accepted it was not an option for him to remain in government. This morning, of course, I have read the full transcript that was published in The Sun, and it is on that basis that he has also been suspended from both the SNP and the parliamentary group, pending further investigation. I think having taken that action, which I think is appropriate in the circumstances, it is now not just reasonable but important to allow that further investigation and consideration to take place without me pre-empting that, and I hope members will accept that course of action.
As Mr Mackay has 26,000 followers on Twitter alone, many parents will be concerned over what assurances the First Minister has received that this is the only example of his unacceptable behaviour, and whether she believes any assurances received are credible. And given that the victim in all of this is a 16-year-old boy, and I've heard no mention of his welfare, what contact has either the SNP or the First Minister's office had, or will they be having, with him and or his family at any point, and what support has been offered?
First Minister.
Well, can I say very clearly, I am not aware of any further allegations or any conduct of a similar nature, but I should stress I was not aware of this until last evening. And I very much hope that Jackson Carlaw will accept that. I very much want to make clear, and I hope members would accept this of my view without me saying it, but I think it is important that I do say it, that I do not condone in any way, shape or form conduct of this nature, and I think all politicians have to reflect on the need for us to say that when it is our opponents that are accused of such behaviour, and also when it is people on our own side, in our own parties. And I think all of us have to be consistent in that, and I will always strive to be. Of course, there is the issue raised by these particular allegations and what is published in the newspaper this morning of the welfare of a 16-year-old boy. I am not aware of the identity or the contact details of the family. If the family or the individual concerned wanted to speak to me, I would of course be happy to do that, and that is my position. But I really hope that members across this chamber, all parties, have faced difficult allegations about members of their own parties in recent times, and all of us have to, I think, be prepared to apply high standards when these allegations are about colleagues of our own, and make sure that the conduct and the action, rather, that we are demanding of our opponents is action that we apply ourselves. And that's what I will strive to do here. But whatever questions are posed to me today, there will be no sense in which I seek to minimise the serious nature of what we are discussing.
Jackson Carlaw.
That to be confirmation that neither the Scottish Government nor the SNP has had any independent contact with this young man or his family at all, in as much as the identity is not known, so that would therefore not be possible. The First Minister has previously said in Chamber that the internet can often be an unsafe place for young people. All MSPs can play our part in our communities in raising awareness and helping to educate parents about the steps that they can take to keep their children safe online. The Parliament has taken issues of exploitation incredibly seriously. And I have to ask the First Minister, can the reputation of Scottish politics and this Parliament be maintained with the full confidence of the public, or even his constituents, if Mr Mackay remains as a member?
First Minister.
Well, clearly there are issues that Derek Mackay will require to reflect on. I am responsible for the actions I take, clearly, firstly as First Minister in terms of the Ministerial Code. Based on what I knew last night, as I've already said, it was clear to me that Derek Mackay remaining in government was simply not an option. And in any event, I should be very clear, he offered his resignation because he clearly recognised that as well. Having seen the fuller detail this morning of what appeared in the newspaper, further action has been taken in terms of his membership of the SNP and the parliamentary group. There is a point, no matter how upset and shocked all of us are when faced with situations like this, there is also the need for due process, and therefore he has been suspended pending further investigation. And I do believe it is right and proper to allow that to happen before I in any way preempt what the outcome of that will be. But clearly, there are very serious matters for me as First Minister to have had to deal with and contend with and respond to over the last number of hours. And there will be matters that Derek Mackay himself, I'm sure, is reflecting on and will continue to have to reflect on.
Jackson Carroll.
First Minister, I appreciate the difficulty, but the NSPCC definition on grooming is as follows. Grooming is when someone builds a relationship, trust and emotional connection with a young person so they can manipulate, exploit or abuse them. Young people can be groomed online by someone who has targeted them. This could be a dominant and persistent figure through the use of social media networks, text messages and apps like WhatsApp. And whether online in person, groomers can use tactics like taking them on trips or outings or holidays. The young people may not understand they've been groomed. They may have complicated feelings like loyalty and admiration. That is the NSPCC definition on grooming. I understand the First Minister wants to defer to an investigation, but the full content of the text exchanges between Mr Mackay and this young man are available online today. How difficult is it not to reconcile his conduct with really the very worst connotation?
First Minister.
I'm not sure if Jackson Carlaw has been paying proper and close attention to my answers. I am in no way minimising the seriousness of what we are discussing today. It is not the case that I am deferring to an investigation before action has been taken. Derek Mackay is no longer a member of my government. He is suspended from my party. He is currently suspended from my parliamentary group. So in the action that has been taken already, I think it should be obvious to everybody how seriously I, my government and my party treat this matter. But in terms of further action, for anybody in any circumstances, where others have to consider future action, there is a degree of due process that has to be gone through. That would be the case for a member of Mr Carlaw's party, just as it is for mine. But in the action that has already been taken, I don't think anybody can reasonably doubt the seriousness with which I treat this matter and will continue to treat this matter.
Thank you. Question number 2, Richard Leonard.
Presiding Officer, Derek Mackay this morning described his own behaviour as foolish. But Derek Mackay's actions towards a schoolboy are beyond foolish. They are an abuse of power. They are nothing short of predatory. So this is serious. And whilst his suspension from the SNP is welcome, he should go as a member of this Parliament.